In this video, we will cover deduplication of cases and contacts, including the release in April of 2022's functionality for enhanced deduplication for case investigators and contact tracers in the Dr. Justina application. Key concepts that you should understand by the end of this video include identifying pairs of potential duplicate records, resolving and merging duplicate pairs to create new final records, which is only for supervisors, as well as then understanding how enhanced deduplication can work across jurisdictions, across different LPHAs.
Welcome to a demo of the enhanced deduplication of cases and contacts. Based on feedback from end users, the Dr. Justina team has put together a new set of features to replace the existing search for duplicates feature within Dr. Justina. It has the following new capabilities. First, it has forced deduplication, which is essentially a feature that requires users to first search for a record before registering it to prevent creation of duplicates. The next set of new features involves deduplication across jurisdictions, so across different project spaces and across patients and contacts. All end users will be allowed to identify duplicates, but only supervisors will have the ability to resolve these duplicates. While resolution is pending, so after an end user identifies a duplicate and before a supervisor resolves those duplicates, end users are able to continue with their investigation. Upon resolution, supervisors will also be able to merge records, and we'll get into exactly what that means in a little bit. And finally, if there are potential duplicates across multiple jurisdictions, CDPHE will have the ability to handle those duplicate pairs. Now I'm going to demonstrate forced deduplication. Forced deduplication really has to do with the register a new case module and the register a new case without an index case module. At this time, we're not able to force deduplication ahead of registering new contacts with an index case, but that is on the backlog. So now, with the enhanced deduplication functionality, all end users are now required to search for an existing record before registering a new patient or contact without an index case to prevent the creation of duplicates. So the way that this works is I am going to register a new case. I am taken to a search screen where I can input information about the record that I am hoping to register. So let's say, for example, I'm hoping to register a person named Amy Jones. And maybe I have additional information about their date of birth. That's something I could include here as well. So I'm going to search for Amy Jones, and what's happening right now is the system is searching across, so this is register a case, it's searching across cases and contacts in all jurisdictions for any record, any person that meets this criteria. And what I've found is that there are actually two records for this person. And it looks like these two records are very similar. So there might potentially already be two duplicates out there, but for the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna choose this record. And you'll notice that this is in the staging environment. In the production environments, you'll see your LPHA name here if the record exists in that domain. And I'll be taken to a new form called the Proceed with Existing Record form. And in this form, I'll see information about the case or contact. In this case, I found a contact that met this criteria, and I'll be presented with a couple of options on how to proceed with this record. So to take an example, I wanted to register a new case, not a new contact, but I found a contact record. So you might decide that I want to convert this contact to a probable case and proceed with that probable case. You also noticed before that there was another duplicate record. You may decide, I do want to convert this contact to a probable case, and then I want to deduplicate it against that other record. There are a couple of different options you can take depending on your workflow. But for the sake of demonstration, what I'm going to do is decide that this is actually not the case I'm looking to register at all. I determined that because I saw that the phone numbers and date of birth and maybe some other information is off. So I've decided this is not the case I'm looking to register. Take me to the register new case form. And by submitting this form and clicking this option, I'll be taken to a form that probably looks familiar to many of you, which is the register a new case form. Now I'm going to navigate back to the home screen and just show you that this functionality is exactly the same for register a new contact. So if I were to, for example, type in the same person, so Amy Jones, I would expect to see the same results because this search is essentially searching across contacts, cases, and across jurisdictions in the same way. But again, for the sake of demonstration, say I decided that these are not the records that I was actually looking for. So you have the option to say no potential duplicates. I've decided that these aren't actually duplicates. Take me directly to the register new contacts without index case form. And that's exactly how it works with register a new case as well. I am now going to demonstrate the identify duplicates workflow. Now this workflow is accessible to any end user of Dr. Justina to identify potential duplicate cases and contacts across jurisdictions. Now this workflow begins similarly to how it does in the current version of deduplication. So say I want to look for a case, and to take an example, maybe I'll search for someone named Polly, and I think their last name was Mir, the person I was looking for. So I'm going to click on that case and proceed with deduplication as I typically do. One thing you'll notice is that the search for duplicate records icon is a little bit different. It's green, and part of the reason we made it green instead of yellow or blue is because you are now able to search for duplicate records across both cases and contacts. So if I click on this button, the first and last name are pre-populated with the information of the record. You're able to add in additional information, but it isn't pre-populated. And as I mentioned before, this will search across all LPHAs. But if for some reason you are needing to narrow your search and are looking to just search in your LPHA, there is that option here. So what I'm going to do now is click submit and search for potential duplicate records. And I find that there is a potential duplicate in this case list. And it looks like someone named Polly Mears, which is a slightly different last name, but still potentially the same record. And I also noticed that this is actually in a different LPHA, and this is a testing domain, so it might look a little bit different. But imagine here that there is a different LPHA name. So this is showing me a record from another jurisdiction, a potential duplicate in another jurisdiction. So what I'm going to do is proceed with this record. I'm going to select this record, and I'll get a little bit more information about this record. One thing you'll notice is that there is no additional details about this record beyond profile information. Part of the reason for this is that this is a record that's in a different jurisdiction, and all end users are not actually allowed to see a certain subset of that data. So if I continue on, I'll be taken to a new form called Select Duplicate Record. Previously, you would be taken to the Identify Duplicate Record form. Now what you'll be able to see is the set of sort of profile information. You'll be able to use this information to determine if this is in fact a duplicate. And for testing purposes, I'm just going to declare now that this is a potential duplicate. And as a CICT non-supervisor, I am able to say, yes, I do believe these are duplicates. And when I submit this form, these records will be flagged as potential duplicates for a supervisor to review and resolve. Now let's say, for example, I am a CICT supervisor who wants to identify duplicates. So I might follow the same path, looking for a particular record, someone named Tyson Power, search all active and inactive cases module and find my case. Again, proceed with search for duplicates as you typically do. So when you get to the patient menu, you'll see that there is the search for duplicates form, which is now green and not blue or yellow. So I'm going to click on that form. And I'll see again that this is pre-populated. I'll click submit and we'll see if I get any potential duplicates. So it turns out there is another potential duplicate that looks like it is in the same domain as mine, and it looks like it could actually be a potential duplicate. So I will want to look into that record. Before I do that, I want to point out that there is this new button that allows you to say, if you decide that this is not an actual duplicate record, or maybe you don't get any results, you're able to click no duplicate records found. And this is actually equivalent to the question at the top of the CI and CN forms that asks you if the record has been deduplicated. So if you click this button, it's the same thing as filling out that question and filling out that question answering no. So moving on, say I do declare that this is probably a duplicate, so I want to move forward with it, and I'll continue, and I'll see a form that is really similar to the form we were just looking at as a sort of regular CICT, but I'll also see additional information about the record that supervisors are permitted to see. And there isn't a whole lot of information here, but I'll see sort of what is already pre-populated. And I'll be given a couple of questions that are similar to what a CICT is asked. So are these records duplicates? Let's say, yes, I do believe these are duplicates. And now there's an additional question that is for supervisors only, which is, would you like to resolve these duplicates? And so I'm going to say, yes, I would like to resolve these duplicates. And what will happen now is I'll be taken to the merge form directly. So instead of identifying these duplicates and then following a separate process to resolve it, when I click submit, I'll be taken directly to the merge form. And I'll get into exactly how the merge form works in a little bit. Now I'm going to proceed with resolving duplicates. So I'm logged in as a supervisor, and I'm going to navigate to a new case list called Potential Duplicates Pending Supervisor Review. Now this is a case list that only supervisors and so only supervisors are able to see. CICTs will not be able to see this this case list. Similarly, there is another case list that is CDPHE view only, where cross-jurisdictional potential duplicates will live, and where CDPHE will resolve those duplicates. For now, I'm going to take you through resolution of single domain duplicate pairs. So as you can see, this is also a green module. The reason we made it green is because it's a case list that will include both patients and contacts. So both of the colors have been mixed together. So now I'm taken to the actual case list, which includes the duplicate pairs to be reviewed for a potential resolution. So you can see there's record A and record B should be treated as equal duplicate records, but as you can see, there's both patient pairs, contact patient pairs, and even contact pairs. So for the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to move forward with this record right here. And as you can see, there's information about both record A and B as it's available. So I'm just going to click continue and proceed to a new form that looks very similar to a form you've seen before, which is select duplicate record. This is called confirm duplicate record, and this is really to serve the purpose of deciding whether these are truly duplicates. So as a supervisor, you'll review this information, all of the information that is available, and you'll decide if these are duplicates. For the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to say, yes, these are duplicates, and choose to resolve them. If I say no, these are not duplicates, then I have the option of submitting, and essentially what will happen is these records will be marked as not duplicate pairs anymore, and you won't see it in the previous case list. So it basically gives the opportunity to the supervisor to override the identification of duplicate pairs by CICTs. But let's say, for example, that I do think these are duplicates and I want to resolve them. So I'll click submit. And I've arrived at a new form called the merge form. So essentially what I do in this form is I decide between a number of values for properties which to keep onto the third record that will be created. Something to keep in mind is that only properties that have a mismatch between values are displayed below. So there's a lot happening in the background of this form, and I encourage you, if you're interested in exactly what's happening, to read the feature guide, which goes into detail about all of the calculations that are happening in the background. At a high level, to take an example, if there was a property, let's say age, for example, if age was blank on both record A and record B, then age will be blank on what we're going to call record C. So the record the merged record that gets created by the end of this form. Similar to how deduplication works in the current version, labs and contacts will be copied from both record A and B to this record C. Notes will also be concatenated so that we're able to save all possible notes. This essentially means that they'll be combined in one place. Moving forward into the actual merge actions. So as you can see, and as you probably know, the address field is a pretty important field to make sure that we're not losing data. So what you're being asked to do here is, since there are two distinct addresses, you need to mark one as the primary address, which will associate it with the primary address properties, and one as the secondary address, which will associate it with alternative address properties. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to say record B is the primary address and record A is the secondary address. And as you move forward in the form, you'll see any values that are slightly distinct will require you to choose one or the other. So in this example, and for all of the examples, you'll see that record A is chosen by default, and you have the option to change it. So maybe Lynette is actually spelled with another T, so I want to select that. And I'll go through, make your sort of decisions based on guidance that you get from your EPI teams about which selections to make. Towards the bottom, there's a selection called Select Multiple Values, which allows you to select multiple. So to take an example, if primary language, if there are two distinct values for primary language, you have the opportunity to keep both values. If you want to. You can also choose to just keep one. You might say, no, I know I verified that there is only one value that should be kept here. If we move further, we'll see at the end of the form, when we finish all of our selections, we see that the record A and B will be closed as duplicates, and a final patient record C, will be created, with some key information. Something to note is that I think record A is a contact and record B is a patient. And a patient record is ultimately created at the end of this. Whenever you're deduplicating against a patient and a contact, the patient record will always be created by default. So I click submit. The process is resolved. So the two records are closed as duplicates, and now a third record exists for this patient. And that duplicate pair no longer exists in this case list. And that is the enhanced deduplication feature. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. For additional support, you can visit the website linked in the slide.